Here's a garment I created in CLO3D using the parametric system from Unreal Engine for MetaHuman, which allows to resize a garment automatically to different body shapes. And in this tutorial, I want to show you my complete CLO/Marvelous Designer workflow to Unreal Engine and the latest updates in Unreal Engine 5.8, and even how you can make your assets ready to export them for Fab, the Unreal Marketplace. So if you like to follow along with this tutorial or even curious about the other clothes I uploaded, you find them all on my Fab Marketplace site. I will put the link below. And if you're interested in digital fashion, CLO3D, MetaHumans, Unreal Engine, and even a bit of Substance Painter, hit the subscribe button and follow for more tutorials like this. So let's get started. I'm starting in CLO and I want to show how I'm prepping my garment before export. So most important, I use a MetaHuman avatar, which you find in the CLO library. Just open the library, avatar, and then MetaHumans. And I'm using the medium height and normal weight. And this is my starting point. Also, I make sure that the skin offset is not lower than 1. And I use this as starting base for all of my clothes because this is most easy shape to refit. And for my garment, I removed all double layers and small parts as much as possible. So hidden pocket bags, facings, everything I deleted. But I kept belt loops and patch pockets because this improves the look. Waistband and hem I set on thickness, rendering with UV expansion. The particle distance is best to set on 12, but not lower than 8. I textured my garment in Substance Painter and imported my unified UVs. I take care that all my stitching are set to textures and not to objects. And for my project, I use usually 1 UV tile and 1 material. If for simulation purpose you need more, keep more. But for this parametric clothing, it's best to have as less materials as possible. Then I export my garment. I go to Export, select USD, and my USD settings are deselect the avatar and the scene and props. I select all patterns and graphics if necessary. Single object, thick. I keep unified UVs checked, but I deselect the avatar, that's important. I keep my textures and I include garment simulation data. And press OK. In the next step, I open the Epic Games launcher. And if not, you can add the latest Unreal version by hitting the plus button. And in the drop-down menu here, you find all the versions. It takes normally a lot of time to download it, so I did it already. And then it's important that for install plugins, I just have Fab and Quixel pre-installed already. CLO and Substance is actually not available for this version, but that's okay. And then for the drop-down menu, I go to Options and I make sure that MetaHuman Creator Core Data is selected and I apply. For this project, I'm using my studio base, which I uploaded to Gumroad. It's an Unreal scene where I have a studio light and it's easy adjustable and quick to make nice renderings. So check this out if you want. And I'm just open it. Now I opened my project. And the first thing I'm doing is to enable my plugins. And therefore I go to Edit, Plugins, and search for Chaos Cloth. And there are many new ones. I enabled already some. Most important to the Chaos Cloth Asset use the data flow nodes, I think. And some I enabled, some I did, and I'm actually not sure which one are necessary. So I keep it at this one here. And before restarting, I'm also searching for MetaHuman. And now the MetaHuman Creator is enabled by default, I think. And I have actually these ones enabled. And I really need to test it because it's the first time I'm trying out 5.8. And then also important is like the USD import. And I just leave this one here. And then I also want to enable MetaHuman body shape presets that I can always use the same shape for all of my cloth. And this I enable by going to Edit, Project Settings, and I'm searching for mode bodies. And it seems like this is already enabled by default. If not, enable it, that's important. In my project now, I go to the content browser and make a right mouse click and first start to add a new folder, which I'm calling MetaHuman. I double click and then again, I'm making a right mouse click and search for MetaHuman character, and I rename it to MH base. And with a double click, I'm opening it. Here I have now the base MetaHuman character. I usually use my own, but also in the presets, there's one avatar which I like most. It's Vivian. With a double click, I select her. And to improve my performance, I can first go on the right side to Grooms and select Hidden. And also on the top, I have the render quality actually on Epic and I set it to medium. Just that the performance is a bit improved on my computer. Then I go on the left side to Hair and Clothing and scroll down here on the right side. And with a double click, I deselect the default garment and now she's just in underwear. And then I go to Head and Body. I go to Body Parameters and then Fix Compatibility. Here I can select now the height. I keep it on medium. The slider has, and then I also use a female, medium, normal weight. And this is my base avatar, which I also used in Clo. Now for my parametric clothing, I need a combined skeletal mesh. And as I see now the export button changed to on the left side, I select it and go to geometry export. Here's also the project path. And I want the full body skeletal mesh. And I hit export geometry. If you work in 5.6 or 5.7, you go here and then you find still the option of combined skeletal mesh export. And now I minimize this window and coming back here to my content browser and find here my MetaHuman base full body skeletal mesh. Next, I want to set up the correct folder structure for my outfit asset, and it's really important to keep it exactly as this. Therefore, I go to the content folder. I make a right mouse click and a new folder and call it outfits. I make a double click and now I create another folder and call it Jorts outfit. Wait, I make it like this. And to be sure that I name it exactly as this one, I press Ctrl C, double click, open the folder and create a new folder and call it also Jorts outfit. This folder I also open and here I create also a stack of new folders. So the first one is meshes. The second one is textures. In the meshes folder, I want to drop my exported MetaHuman skeletal mesh. So I just go back to my MetaHuman and MetaHumans. There I find it. I select it and I go to drag and drop it. Wait, I open this one as well. And then I drag and drop it to meshes and I make copy here. I navigate now to my meshes folder and have it here. And then I make a right mouse click on it, skeleton, and then I need to find the skeleton. And it's somewhere, doesn't matter where, because again, I scroll up here in my folder structure until I find here my meshes folder from before. Again, I select it, drag and drop it into meshes, and again, very important to copy here. And now I have my skeleton in the same folder as this one, and it's very important to have it, especially if you want to sell later your garment or upload your garment to Fab. And for my skeleton, I press F2 to rename it, or a gentle double click, and then I make an underscore jorts. And now again, I select this one, right mouse click, skeleton, and now assign skeleton. And because we called it something with jorts, I can easily find it here with the searching and select it and hit accept. Okay, now I'm starting to create a cloth asset. So I go in the jorts outfit folder, in the last one, make a right mouse click and search for cloth asset. And I name it jorts outfit. And it's important to have the ending outfit as far as I know. I tried it once without and was not working, so be aware. Oh, that's new. Oh, okay. We, in our case, use USD cloth and hit OK. Okay. And now this is actually the setup for chaos cloth, but we create parametric clothing, so resizable outfits, which are rigged to the MetaHuman skeleton. So the first thing I'm doing is like select all the nodes and just delete them. And then I also, let me check. Do we need to keep this one? We will not have any LOD, so I'm deleting this one as well. And also deleting all of these ones. And then I move the last ones, our cloth terminal here to the left, that we have all together. Oh, and let me I enable my key width app so you can see what buttons I press. So starting with the USD import, I select this node and then in the right side the node details are opening. And I just need to click this little dots here and then importing my USD file, which I exported before from CLO. And the cool thing is that with a USD file, we're getting a sim static mesh and a render mesh, and this improves the quality of the garment because the static mesh has a lower poly count and it's just imported thin, and then we have the render mesh, which is just used for rendering but not for simulation. So the performance is really good even if we have like a low poly count and a high poly count combined in one. And that's why I like this USD import. I hope it was understandable. Position transform or transform positions is normally not needed. I would delete it, but I leave it for now because it looks a bit different than usually here. And then we have transfer skin weights where I cannot like import my skeletal mesh now, but I have this extra node. This is also new, and I want exact my skeletal mesh. So because I didn't renamed it, I minimize this window, go to meshes, I select my MetaHuman base skeletal mesh, and then I reopen my cloth asset and hit this little arrow button, use selected asset from content browser. And now I'm sure I really have the right one. And this one I connect now with the simulation solver config. I just dismiss this one, and I think this one I also don't need. I'm like just connecting my nodes to the cloth asset terminal. And also to keep it clean, I don't have any other LOD, so I make a right mouse click on this node and remove option pin and do this twice, and then I just have like my collection LOD 0. I save this now, God, and I hope everything is working. And let's minimize it. Now I have here my cloth asset. The next thing is to jump one folder up to my George's outfit. And here I make a right mouse click again and now creating an outfit asset. And this one I call outfit and resizable outfit. Yes. With a double click I open it. Normally I go on the evaluation data flow graph and set it to manual so it's not loading as long as I'm working in it. I open this data flow, select this sized outfit source and add an element, and then I'm adding my George's outfit, and we need the cloth asset, so the first one with the CA. I call the size medium, and then I open the source body and also search here for George's. I cannot find it. Let me check. I minimize the window and go back to my meshes. I select this one, just to be sure that we really have the right one. And then I use select asset from content browser button here. And now I go to automatic graph evaluation. And this can take quite a bit to load, so just wait. After crashing, I set it up again and I just switch here again back from manual to automatic. And this can take a few minutes. When it's ready, you can save. And then I'm closing this. And now, if not already, I open my MetaHuman character creator. And I make this a bit smaller because now I'm going here to hair and clothing, scrolling down to the clothing assets, going to my outfits and select the outfit asset. and drag and drop it here into Outfit Clothing panel. And it automatically creates a wardrobe item. I select this item, or I can just double click to open it, but I can also open it here by pressing Accessory Properties. Everything is so tiny. What happened? And it's already an outfit pipeline. I didn't create any body hidden face map texture, but if I want to kind of mask parts of the body from my MetaHuman out because it's clipping, I would add the texture here. And I can also generate a thumbnail or create a thumbnail with a screenshot. It just needs to be a squared image. And I can also rename it to Jorts. And I simply save it. And now let's see what's happening. I go to body. This is not necessary. You can also scroll out and double click the texture. What happened? Let me check. We are very close. So if I go now here, my Jorts is not imported. Maybe this is an error. Use the import and I save. Normally I should, here I see the texture, so this should be good. I close this one. Let me check. Now we have the texture. I'm dying. This looks so good. This looks really good. Okay, now I'm also checking my other body types. Okay, we wanted to get to body parameters and we have the fixed body components. Something's wrong with my window. And going now for this one. Hey, it's still, she is wearing it very low. Okay, but that's fine. And if I go now for the female, nice. Wow, this is a big improvement because normally the other sizes were not fitting so fast. Now I want to check if it's also, okay, it's a bit of clipping, but still you could use it also for a guy. Wow. Let's check this man here. Wow, I'm really impressed. That's so good. Well, they have really short legs, huh? Okay, I'm going back to my, let's do skinny, tall. And the next step I need to do is to create the full rig and download textures. I need to wait for my rigging and then I download my textures and it's automatically downloading. Okay. And the last thing is now I can assembly and press the assemble button to generate my MetaHuman for my Unreal project. I can also now check on the side some animation presets. Just playing the press button. Wow, it's really working. Nice. Let's test just poses, not like really. Yeah, it's doing a stretch and it looks all good. I would like to have a walking animation, but I don't have one now. But this testing you can already do before assembling. So just like rigging and testing if the garment is working is already in this state possible. And I would say it looks quite good. I'm saving my project and closing this window for now. I have now my MetaHuman in the folder. When I go to MetaHuman base and now open the blueprint, switch to viewport, and I have here my garment as a skeleton mesh asset. That's really cool. And the last thing I wanted to show is if you want to sell your garments on Fab, this is also possible. You go to Window, MetaHuman Manager, and then to Closing Assets. I select my Jorts, Verify, has been verified and no messages. Now we can package and I call it, first of all, I save it in my finals folder and I call it Jorts Outfit. This is how it looks like. And if I want to test it, I can just drag and drop it into my project and I get the same folder set up as I had before. Yeah, that's a complete workflow for creating parametric clothing in CLO3D for Unreal Engine. And for sure, there's also the option to recolor garments. There's also some other options. And if you're interested in content like this, I will post and upload more videos about like creating clothes for MetaHuman and optimizing them. So hit the subscribe button if you're interested. This is also a big support for the channel. And let me know in the comments what you like to see next. Thanks for watching.